show. Always Irish show. Always Irish show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison! I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship! That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing! Doing a damn thing! The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. No Irish. No Irish. No Irish. No Irish. Irish. Yeah. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks, to a Work It Out Wednesday. We got a lot to go over. We got a lot to cover. You know what I like about this group? Never a dull moment in the chat. It doesn't matter what day it is. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. It doesn't matter what topics we have on the ledger. It's always going to be something. And it's a beautiful thing. I love you guys. There's always a drama. There's always a disagreement philosophically. It's exactly what I want. And it's year round here. You guys are awesome. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, Pat popped in this morning. He's still alive. He's still here. No, Commander Luke, he's not boycotting John and, starting a revolt. Pat's in here just to say hi. He's got a lot going on. Good to have you back, even if you're just checking in, Pat. It's good to have you. So, couple things we need to go over today. Is there Deuce drama or not? My entire last night was consumed with this topic and going over a lot of details with that and some social media stuff that popped up we need to sort through. And so I'm going to go over that right away to get it out of the way and kind of set the stage for where I think things are at. So we're going to do that. And then I got some big ifs for this year, for 24. We'll see what the callers have. We got a couple of them. Dr. John's coming up. Also, if my memory serves me, I believe we also have the guy who called in about Elko and Freeman over the weekend, and it generated a lot of response and a lot of traffic. I'm pretty sure my memory's good enough that I think that's him again. So listen. I thoroughly enjoyed his phone call. He was a new caller, a first caller, and I always like adding new personalities into the mix. And it's coming from a Notre Dame fan perspective, worrying about our guy getting out coached by another good coach and all that. I love that. That's exactly, in a lot of ways, I could argue that's the healthiest version of this show, with new people that want to call in and then throw a Notre Dame worry in there, but it's coming from a genuine place, not a troll place. I love that. I think that's healthy for this program in this dynamic. So we're going to bring both you guys up right away. Dr. John gets his morning spot as my surrogate Irish grandfather, and then we'll go to Pat there. And so thanks everybody for being here. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Johnny out as well. Notifications on, you know why. That way you alerted every time a new episode drops. You don't want to miss it. Twitter. Search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Email is alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it. The call-in lines. 312-988-15 dialed up. Tell Uncle Johnny all you've heard and seen. Instagram, Facebook, Always Irish Inc. USA Today, Irish Wire. You can read all about it over there. We do a good job, man. Working hard. Writing articles is a different skill set than content. It's harder for me to do a good job writing than it is content. Content just comes in my brain and it's my natural thing. I love the challenge. So go read all about it. Audio only. You could get audio only on all this stuff. I dub it over. You could listen to it MP3. If you don't want to see my face, everybody understands. Patreon.com/Always Irish. It's the former captain, Mike Goolsby, and myself, breaking it all down. Go over there. It's a good time. We had a juicy episode yesterday. Sometimes you're in a groove, man. Like you just hit it and you're vibing and you're in a groove. We were in a little bit of a groove. It was nice. It was nice. Okay, I see a lot of debate about Mike Elko and Marcus Freeman and Mike Denbrock and Mike Elko and Riley Leonard and Mike Elko and Mike Denbrock. I did a Patreon episode. I think it came out last week. I can't even remember the days. And it was something about this 3D high-level chess match that's coming our way. And I set up the episode where you're looking at Mike Elko knows everything Riley Leonard's good at and bad at. When he panics, what makes him panic and mess up? When he's comfortable, what that setup looks like, all of this. Mike Elko knows all those details about our quarterback better than anyone in the world, and probably even better than Riley Leonard knows him himself. Okay? But our guy, Mike Denbrock, knows that Mike Elko knows every single detail about our quarterback and what he loves and doesn't love, what looks favor him and which ones make him panic, all that stuff. You got a high-level, high-pressure, high-intensity game of 3D chess going on here in this ball game. And it's going to come down to who has the best first plan, who adjusts the best, and who practically makes the adjustments work on the field. This is a high-level mind football situation. And it's going to be really, really interesting. Think about what I'm telling you. Play it off in your mind, like bounce it around. Elko knows Leonard better than Leonard knows Leonard. Denbrock knows that Elko knows that, so he's thinking of ways to do the opposite of what he thinks Elko's going to do based off knowing that, and Elko knows that. This is a really high-level game of philosophical planning in football, and I can't wait for it. Mike Denbrock's the highest paid offensive coordinator in the country. I expect you to come up with something right away that can move us down the field in a way against a big team in a big moment that we haven't had in a long time. Is an offense that can function and look like a real-world offense against a real team and coach or real talent, okay? So it's going to be interesting. All right, we got a few callers. Let me get through the super chat. A couple of things I highlighted, and then we'll give it to the callers. We'll see where the morning goes. Eric with the $20 outlet. That's my lawyer in Michigan. Thank you. The caller was correct. Elko is a better coach than Freeman. However, Elko did not outcoach Freeman in the Duke game. Elko outcoached Parker, not Freeman. Freeman calls virtually zero plays. I understand the concept. And there's no way around it. Parker was drowning in high pressure, big moments last year. He did not have an answer. He was drowning. You could see a guy drowning in his job, panicking, trying to figure out what to do now. I don't know, and everything. 2-minute drills at the end of halves. Gino Guidugli was planning for and calling all of those plays because it was too fast-paced for Parker to be comfortable to get in a rhythm on and plan ahead. So when you got in the 2 minutes, you ended up with my homeboy Gino was the one managing the 2-minute drills at the end of halves. There's no way around it. Parker struggled. And the bigger the moment and the better the defense and the more pressure, the more he struggled. That all needs to be over. And here's the really challenging part of that, you guys. Here's the game's 3 months away. Don't you people have a life, says Adam. Adam, you are not the person to talk about that. What? Look at your text thread to me every single day, Adam. I'm not letting Adam get away with this one. Him and I text about all of our Notre Dame worries literally every single day of the year. Come on. I'm not letting Adam act like he's not worried about all this. Come on now. Anyways, you could feel Parker drowning in the moment. Now, the interesting part of that is, who do you blame for that? Oh, it's complicated. Who do you, callers, I'm coming to you. Who do you blame for that problem? Because you want to say it was Parker and the inexperience or whatever, fine. And then it's like, well, isn't that the head coach's job to oversee everything? And then I'd say, yeah, it is. That's why he tried to hire a guy who knows what he's doing in Utah, and the administration totally screwed it up by pulling out bad paperwork and not knowing the scenario when they sit down to complete a deal. So then I'm going to say, yeah, ultimately it's Freeman's fault. That's why he knew he needed a guy who knew what he was doing over there, and he tried to hire one in Utah. Notre Dame messed it up and didn't support him the right way. And then Jack said, yeah, we messed it up. Give us more money because of it. That's how you can repay us for messing this up. Give us more money. So whose fault is it then? You put Freeman in a position where he had to scramble, and then that's what you got because you didn't take care of business. Now, you could argue we're going to end up being ahead because of this, because you ended up with Denbrock, and if that goes well, you're going to end up in a more dynamic spot than you would with Andy Ludwig. But at the moment, that's who Freeman wanted, and the university messed it up in a non-Notre Dame way. Usually Notre Dame's pretty good with this stuff. They weren't, and they messed it up and dropped the ball. Jack doubling down and saying, yeah, we screwed up. Give us more money to reward us for it is, I'm glad he's retiring. Let's put it that way. That was it, man. Doubling down when you messed up and asking for more money because you messed up is absolutely insulting. So bye-bye, Jack. Bye-bye, buddy. So anyways, that's a matter of who you want to blame. Okay. Let's get into a couple of these chats, and then we will go ahead and we'll start taking these calls. Oh, I like this. What is love? A&M about to find out. Yeah, we need to do a remix of the video. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me no more. And he's just juking around all the A&M guys going crazy. I like that. I like that. Annoying song, actually. Don't like the song, but I like the theme. But if we're going with love, there's a lot of better songs that I'm going to pick to mix together with a love. California love. Like, there's a lot of songs I love a lot more than What is Love that I'll do to mess with that one. Yeah, there's a big debate about who outcoached who, and it's hard because like Elko didn't have a lot of talent, bad offensive line. It's hard to judge like the results at Duke and all that. And then some people are arguing, yeah, but Freeman inherited a really good team when he took over. They're in different spots. I agree with some of that. I disagree with some of that. What was it? 21-3 the previous 2 years before Freeman came over. Yeah, that's factually true. But if you look at the 21-3, the nuts and bolts of the team that got it to 21-3 were not there when Freeman took the job. You didn't have a quarterback. Like, your good defensive guys went to the league. So it's a little disingenuous. It's a fact when you bring up that record Freeman inherited for the first 2 years. That's a fact. But to just say the roster was good those 2 years and then Freeman took you, are you ignoring that there was no quarterback because he was gone and all the good defensive players left to the league and there was no one to backfill him, which is partially the reason Kelly wanted to leave, to not have to deal with his own recruiting mess when the chickens come home to roost and those guys have to contribute and you don't have anybody? Very complicated. Very complicated. Oh, here's a good one. They're talking about why the LSU defense was so bad. Madhouse, I don't blame BK because he don't coach defense. Did you guys blame Freeman or GP? I blame the administration, and I just explained why. But I do advise, genuinely, I mean this for LSU people, don't fall for Kelly's stuff. You're all falling for all the political speeches he gives, all of his promos where he says a lot of words but says nothing while he's saying a lot of words, making excuses for not having the talent you guys want. Don't fall for it, man. You guys brag about having these high title standards and all that. Don't let Kelly lower the bar on you. Don't let him lower the bar on you. Hold firm to your standards. I'm not trolling. I mean that. He's a master at gradually lowering the bar, and you almost don't realize it sometimes. Don't fall for it. But you don't blame BK because he don't coach defense. He hires the guy who coaches defense. Doesn't that count? And then did you guys blame Freeman or GP? I blamed the administration for putting Freeman in a position to have to scramble and hire GP. Freeman didn't want to hire GP. He was number 4 or 5 on the list. Break in case of fire, emergency only. And that's what Freeman found him in because the administration screwed up. Really frustrating situation. I'm glad we're out of it. $5 holler. It is not going to be Elko versus Freeman. It's staff versus staff. We win. Philip, I believe more in what you say just because you look so damn good in that suit. Just because you look so good in that suit, baby. Oh, boy. Oh, yeah, I see this. Getting all high and mighty. Yeah, that's a regular thing that happens quite often. I see that. John, the portal existed in 22. Why didn't Freeman go get Bo Nix? I don't know. Did you talk to him? Wait a second. Why'd my phone line cut out? What the hell's going on here? No host connection. Bro, it says that I'm still on the line. What do you mean no host connection? You guys are going to have to call again. I'm going to have to try this again. We're going to have a morning. Here we go. Unbelievable. I had everything set up right when I'm about to go to the calls. Let's see what happens here.
All circuits are busy now. Please try your call later.
What do you mean? All circuits are busy? What is this, 1924? All circuits are busy? What is this? The first telephone line ever invented? Son of a... What? What does that even mean in these days? Hold on, guys. Let me try this again. This show's off the rails. Circuit's busy? What is this? Bro. I have no idea what that is. You guys are going to have to hold steady for a minute, and I'm going to have to try again. Unbelievable. I don't know why you didn't go after Bo Nix. Maybe he tried to talk to him and he wasn't interested. Like, how do we know? Like, you asked that question, there's a million reasons. I have no idea. Maybe he wasn't interested in Notre Dame and they back-channeled it, and I don't know. I have no idea. How could I have an idea? $20 holler. Pat, why are you calling me? I can't answer. I can't answer that call right now. You know that. I don't know what's going on. Let's try it again. Pat, I can't answer your call right now. I have the wires hooked up and everything.
All circuits are busy now.
All circuits are busy now. I have no idea. I will try again in a minute. Unbelievable. That's going to ruin my day. It's going to ruin my day. John, just emailed you a pic from my bachelor party. Repping Always Irish on the golf course. That's funny, man. That's what I did at my bachelor party, too. It was followed up by some chicanery, but we started out at the golf course, and it was like 140 degrees, and people were like passing out. It was unbelievable. Johnny was stealing your talking points about the administration word for word the other day. Who was stealing it? Who was stealing it? Oh, yeah, I got you. Never mind. I don't even concern myself with that situation. Pay your bills, Johnny. They bill my credit card every time that anybody calls or does anything. Why are you sweating already? I'm a sweaty guy. I sweat all the time, no matter what. I do. Still says connected. Dude, it's seriously. What do you mean all circuits are busy? I'm picturing like black and white movies where you call and they like plug a wire into the wall, like into those holes. And they're like, can you please connect me with the downtown hospital? And then they plug the wire in and some lady sitting there like I Love Lucy or something. This is BS, man. I pay for this stuff. It needs to work. What are you talking about? Circuit's busy. What is this? Circuit City that doesn't even exist. I just called. Your phone lines are fine. I can assure you they're not fine. So I don't know. The killer of free speech. Yeah, you know me. I'm against anybody saying what they really think. John, my point is that it's silly to blame the previous coach in the portal era. If the position room is thin, go out and get guys. Dude, Andrew, you say a lot of things. You're a good debater. You say a lot of things that are blatantly agreeable, but there's so much nuance in there that gets overlooked because the big picture point makes perfect sense. So nobody could look at your arguments and be like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, clearly for these reasons. You can't do that with you because you argue things that are like on the surface, undebatable, but there's so many weeds in the way and like nuance to get there that have to be acknowledged that sometimes I feel like we go right over. But I like it because it's smart. Because when you're in an argument, you usually present arguments that nobody's going to argue against. Like, you can't have 10 guys on the field. You know, like, there's an example. Like, I don't know. I just feel like your points are always something where it's, you can't disagree, but the nuance to get us there is sometimes where I struggle. People are saying they got through right away. I don't know what's going on, man. Sweaty John TV. Dude, I sweat so bad. I'm just a sweaty dude, man. Sorry, for a skinny guy, too. Like, I just am. I think Freeman got bullied by Reese to go with Buckner. Yeah, but, man, didn't he have the choice? You're the head guy. You really could have done something different if you wanted, and he didn't want to, apparently. I mean, it was his... Did he just defer? Ozempic, bro, I need reverse Ozempic where I gain weight. That's what I need. I need reverse Ozempic in reverse. Johnny's getting a bunch of calories. That's what I need. All right, let's try the phone lines again, bro. I don't know. Let's see. Unbelievable. Circuits are full. What a bunch of bullshit.
All circuits are busy now. Please try your call later. 0982.
What? Bro, I'm about to blow my stack. There's a second number to try and call to log in. Let me try a second number. Isn't this good radio? You guys could see me fight this. Great show. See you Friday. Let's try a secondary number. It's a shame. We had a bunch of good callers lined up too. All right, let's try their alternate number.
Thank you for calling Call-In Studios host and call screener line. Please enter your show or meeting number and press pound. Enter your 6-digit PIN number. Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the Call-In Studio web interface.
All right, so it looks like we're back with a few callers. Let's take Dr. John and see if he could hear me or if it works. Although I've had nothing but problems with Dr. John's phone, so I might have to call him back. We're having phone line problems. All circuits are busy. 1924? I got somebody's great grandma plugging the wires in. Life's already hard enough. I just tried to call like you were not connected. This better work. Dr. John, tell me you're on the line.
I'm on the line. Can you hear me?
I got you. I think we're good to go. I don't know what happened.
Oh, my God. Isn't technology wonderful?
Only when it works. And I got to tell you, it ain't cheap to keep the phone lines running and to pay this system and everything. I need it to work, man. I need it to work. Anyways, I got you, Dr. John. You're live on the air, and I thank you for that. I hope you had a relaxing Memorial Day weekend, and I'd love to know what's on your mind in Notre Dame land.
Well, first of all, I am in Bloomington, Minnesota now for my youngest grandson's graduation tonight. So I'm sitting here in my Always Irish shirt, and I was laying in bed this morning thinking, I don't have a damn thing to tell John, and now I've got about 10 items.
Well, I'm glad the list filled up. Do you have a couple that rise to the top of the list?
Well, yeah. First of all, I think you ought to warn your listeners in the Chicago area that the surf's up on Michigan, so don't go swimming.
Yeah. There you go. I don't know, dude. It's you know what I like about that lake when you're in Chicago? Like when I first moved up there, Dr. John, I like using the lake as it tells you where you're at in the city. If you always know where the lake is, you always know exactly where you are and which way is which. That's the only use I ever had for that lake is when I first moved up there to get my bearings. And you could always know the lake's that way. And then you know exactly where you're facing and where you're at.
There you go. I got a piece of business I got to get out of the way or my oldest daughter's going to kill me. She's wondered if you have tried those Olympic medal Reese's peanut butter cups or whatever the heck they are.
The what? Olympic medal ones?
Well, apparently they're putting them out like a Olympic medal.
Okay, I got a really key question. I need to know the thickness. If they're the same thickness as the Reese's eggs and the Christmas trees and the Halloween pumpkins, I'm interested. But if they're going to thin out on me and I don't get as much of the peanut butter part in the middle, I'm not interested. I only want that shape if it's the same thickness as the Christmas trees and the other holiday special ones.
Well, all I can say is it must be because she agreed completely with your assessment some weeks back about the Reese's stuff. So I'm presuming it's the real goods, okay?
I like that.
You're just going to have to go try them.
I like that. I will. I'll take that into consideration. But I hold firm on my theory on those.
Okay. One other item. I wanted to shout out Sunday night, but you didn't give it to me. I shot two under my age last Saturday. And you didn't recognize that? I was crushed.
Oh, Dr. John, I'm sorry, man. Especially without Pat, I got a lot going on to look at. I'm sorry, man. I can't keep up with all of I just can't keep up with all of it. I mean, congratulations to you for shooting 112. I'm happy, you know?
Thanks a lot, bud. Thanks a lot.
You set yourself up for that one, and I'm not alone. I'm not alone. That was you teed that up, so to speak. You teed that up for me, and you need to know I'm going to slam dunk one when you tee it up, buddy.
Okay, well, I'm coming back at you right now.
Oh.
You know how the universe just evens everything out.
Yeah.
You have way too much fun on this show, so I know you're going to hell. And you know where hell is, don't you?
Ann Arbor, Michigan. That's mine.
Pretty damn well. Hell, Michigan's pretty damn close.
Yeah, like that's my thought. That's my version of hell. So I just don't
Well,
want to
that's
go
probably
there.
where you're going to end up now.
Oh man.
All right, let's go. Let's go to A&M.
Sure.
First of all, you have to go a little soft. I've got my oldest grandson at A&M right now in astroengineering or something I don't understand.
That's pretty impressive. But the downside is they've joined a cult. So good job on the degree that's going to be high paying. I'm just concerned about which cult they've joined. Okay? John, they're weird down there. They're weird down there, man. Something ain't right.
Hey, he's already got a weird grandfather, so what the heck?
Yeah, I know. Look what you do with your time.
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised they haven't committed me by now. I mean, the last 2 years I've proved they should be committed. Anyway, let's talk about that game. I have you had this whole scenario. Well, and nobody knows Leonard like Elko, but Denbrocker knows that and this and that. I'll tell you what Denbrock's going to do, which will just take that whole scenario right out of the park. He's going to start Carr at quarterback. I already told you that a long time ago, right?
Oh, man. See, here's the issue, though. I like how sneaky you're being with it, but the reality is it would get out. Like, if you could do a total switcheroo, it would be really interesting. But the reality is people would find out from camp. There's be no way to hide it. But I do like the sneaky nature of your tactics.
I don't know. I can't picture Elko in my mind. Does he have hair, or is he like you?
Who?
Elko.
I think he's losing it a little bit. Yeah, I think he has a little, but he's losing it up top.
Well, if he did, I mean, when Carr walks out on that field, he'll be tearing what hair he's got left out.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Ball game's ours then.
But really, Dr. John, it is an interesting chess match. It's going to be a really interesting offensive, defensive chess match. And Denbrock was brought in here to scheme up offenses for moments like this, and I need him to do a good job. This cannot be another big game moment where Notre Dame's defense has to do everything and save the day and pitch a shutout to win. No, I need the offense to do your part and contribute. I don't think I'm asking that much.
All right. We'll leave it there. Now, moving on. Did you watch that lacrosse match on Monday?
I certainly did. It was very enjoyable.
It was great. And one of the things that stood out to me about that was Coach Freeman up in the booth.
Yeah. And you know what I liked about it? When we started kicking the crap out of them, it basically became a Notre Dame football promo. They were showing Faison. They were showing my man Freeman. Yeah. I loved it. Right when it got out of hand, they're like, well, let's start talking Notre Dame football, I guess. But I love seeing Freeman. Just listen, it matters to me. I think people like Freeman supporting the other programs. It shows that the guy in charge of football doesn't think he's too cool to be invested or act like he cares and supports anything else. So I love the fact that he is out there always representing, and it's always good promotion for the football side of things. I love seeing it. And he was sitting right by Father John, too. I love it, man. I love Freeman's dedication to all things Notre Dame.
You know what? Freeman gets it.
Yep.
He does. He gets it.
Yeah.
And I think that means a lot. I think it got to mean a lot to the kids and a lot to the fans.
Yeah.
I mean, it does to me. I mean, I've said this before. I think he's another era. That's how I feel about it.
Man, I really hope so. It's a big year for Marcus Freeman. Dr. John, there's a lot of Notre Dame fans on the fence with Freeman right now, and they want a reason to buy in, and this year is going to be it. You got to have a really good year. Like, it is starting to be winning time. Patience is running thin. People are ready to see it. Like, it's the pressure is on, and I feel it 12 weeks at a time. He's got to have a damn good year. You got to make that playoff. Whatever the record is, you got to be in that play. You got to have a good year, man. Plain and simple.
Yeah, well, 12-0 will get us there.
I would hope so. Yeah, it doesn't get you a bye, but it gets you in the tournament. Being perfect doesn't get Notre Dame a bye, but it gets them in the dance.
That's true. That's true. There ought to be something in there. If you're ranked number one going in there, you ought to get a bye.
Yeah, I've thought about that every which way. Notre Dame, they had to concede something, and that's what they ended up doing. Whatever. If you get that a home game in round one, it kind of makes me feel better about it. If you got to go on the road, that's a lot tougher path. So 11-1 hosting a home game. That's got to be that's got to be what you want.
Well, what's the deal with all these Deuce rumors?
All right. I'm glad you're
anything definitive?
I'm glad you're asking. Last night, my phone started blowing up in the evening. And when my phone blows up like a lot, meaning I only have my phone on vibrate because ringtones are annoying. No one should have to listen to you getting a call. That all annoys me. So my phone's vibrating off the hook with texts and calls. Some writer for Ole Miss put in a prediction that he's predicting Deuce Knight will flip to Ole Miss before the recruiting season is over. So nothing actually happened, but this guy logged an article saying, I'm predicting that he's going to flip and end up at Ole Miss. So then I get a million texts about what the hell's going on here, blah, 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 blah. And in the middle of all that, Deuce Knight is tweeting about Mike Denbrock, being like this some promo thing for Denbrock and all that. So I don't know what the realities are. Ole Miss is not backing down. Lane Kiffin's putting on the full court press. Deuce Knight is a stereotypical perfect fit SEC type quarterback. We got to see if Freeman and company can take this one the whole way. But all the people I've talked to said he's still in on Notre Dame, and all the drama is created by other people in the recruiting scene, not by him. People that want to sell articles, people that want to get clicks. But none of the drama seems to be initiated from him and his camp. It's other people trying to stir things up. But that guy's article saying, I'm predicting he flips to Ole Miss, had people whacked out. And then everybody I reached out to and asked said there's nothing to worry about right now, but Ole Miss is not going away, and they're going to be riding him the whole way. So that's what I know. A lot of drama, but he doesn't seem to be starting it. So I don't know, man.
Yeah. Well, we shall see. We shall see. Last item, I promised you an anthem to be premiered at the tailgate party.
Yeah.
We're going to have I've got all three of my daughters here for this graduation. We're going to have our first rehearsal.
Oh my gosh.
But along those lines, I'm going to send you an email and just asking you to forward it to Adam, because I think you said it's Adam's pickup, right? That's going to be there?
Yep.
Okay, I need to ask him some questions about that. But so I'll send you an email just saying, please give Adam my email so we can chat a little bit about that.
I will. Yeah, dude, I love that pickup truck. It's the stage. The pickup truck is the stage. I love it. Me and Pat always end up on top of that thing yelling something every time. It's beautiful.
Well, can it handle 5 people up on it?
Oh, it should be able to.
All right. Well, I got to talk to him about that. So.
Okay.
Anyway, you have a great show. I got I also got his last high school baseball game at noon today. And then there's graduation at 7 o'clock. So it's a big day here.
Oh, congratulations for the family. You all getting together. You all like each other. Pat asks if you're going to need a step ladder to get up to the truck.
Thank you, John.
Yell at Pat for that one, not me. Pat's the one who came up with that one.
Why do I love you guys? I don't understand.
Me neither.
It's another case for me being committed.
You know, look at it this way. We all feel comfortable enough in our relationship at this point. We could take digs at each other and know that we're all going to laugh it off. Okay. It's a good thing.
You got it.
It's a good sign that we're this comfortable. You know what? I got something else I got to email you back too. So we'll exchange some emails because something else came across. So I might shoot you one too. Okay, man? All right.
That sounds good, man.
Congratulations.
Take care.
Yeah, congratulations to everybody with the school stuff and the grandkids and everything and all the family together, man. That's a beautiful thing. Happy for you guys. You got a nice family, all right?
I'll pass it on, and you try those Reese's medals or whatever the heck they are.
I will. I'll look them up. Thanks a lot, Doc. Take care out there, man. He's always on the move. He's never in the same spot twice. Oh, boy. What did I miss? I fought the phone lines, and then I yelled about that, and then I called an alternate number, and the circuits are available. I don't understand, bro. It's like calling from the Titanic or something. I don't understand. Beefeater, $5 holler. Callers, we're coming up. We're going to breeze through them, give you guys your time. The Ozempic for your sweaty type 2 diabetic OSU friends who have been eating their feelings for the last 3 years. Ooh, geez, that's graphic. Dr. John almost has a worse carbon footprint than Taylor Swift. He's flying all over. That always cracks me up too. If you look at if you look at some of these people that are like, we need to end fossil fuels and we need to end the jet. You know how bad jet fuel is for like the air and everything you're doing. And it's like, but aren't you the one flying around in this jumbo jet every city to do stuff every day? Well, yeah, but I don't mean me. I mean you guys. It always comes down to that. It's like, bro, aren't you? Like some of these people are like, we need to go to all electric vehicles to clean up the air and whatever. But wait a second. But you just pulled in here in a gas guzzling SUV. But that's because I'm different. But I need you guys to have the battery thing where you can't even drive to grandma's house without plugging it in the wall. Like, bro, that's what kills me. Oh, we need to do all electric. Bro, you just pulled in here in a gas guzzling SUV, bro. What are you talking about? Like, oh, but not for me, for you peasants, not me. I'm important. I can fly all over, not you. And unbelievable. Carl, what's going on? And bro, I did not Commander. I didn't block Commander. Somebody put in the chat earlier, we need to unblock Commander. I didn't block no Commander. And Pat hasn't been around, so maybe the guy's working today or something. I don't know what he's doing. 917, and then Bruce, I got you. It's been a while, Bruce. 917, is this my guy from the other night?
Yeah, this is Pat from West Palm.
Pat, I got to tell you, man, I cut up your call the other night and put it out just as a little standalone video. And I got a lot of messages about it. And a lot of people just said, I like having somebody new calling, kind of challenging Notre Dame fans for like in a unique way. I got a lot of good reaction to that call, man. Thank you for getting in the mix.
Well, I'm glad you're happy because I'm not. Listen, in your chat, some kid was saying that I should cheer for another team because I dared say that Elko's better than Freeman. Let me tell you something. I'm 51 years old. I was cheering for Notre Dame football when that kid was an itch in his daddy's pants. So how dare that kid say that? That's number one. Number two is more substantive. Number two, somebody made a point that Duke actually had a good roster last year. You know what? That's a great example, John, of how a half-truth is more deceptive than a lie. Because Duke did have a kid get drafted in the first round last year, a kid named Barton. That's true. He didn't play against Notre Dame. He was hurt that day. Their best player was out. So all this nonsense about how Duke's roster could match up to Notre Dame's is so ridiculous. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. So I'm calling in just to set the record straight on that. And I don't want to rehash the last call.
Sure.
But I was irate reading some of these comments.
Man, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Like, don't let it ruin your day, man. And I really struggle with it too. Philosophically, I always struggle with, if you like say something negative about the team you love, then it's like, well, then go root for another team. It's like, no, you're not understanding the point. I'm bringing up these things in the effort to make our stuff better, right? Like, I really struggle with that too.
Of course, there's a distinction between the coach and the team. They're not the same.
Yeah.
I can hate Brian Kelly and love the team.
Yeah.
But I don't want to dwell on that stuff. I think, and I'm going to say some good things about Freeman. Just because I think that Elko's better doesn't mean I think Freeman is garbage. I have my concerns, but I don't think he's a garbage coach.
Right. There's a lot of there. You're saying there's a lot of middle. Just because you might think a lot of Elko doesn't mean you think nothing of Freeman on the other end. There's a big range there. And also, are you open to Freeman's development and rising up your chart of what you think of him? I'm assuming that this is a big year for you to monitor that progress as well, right?
Well, I got no choice. Right? He's not going anywhere, so I'm going to cheer for him. So yeah, in that sense, I'll agree with you on that. But I think Freeman had 3 deficiencies that Kelly didn't address, and Freeman is starting to address. The first was, cornerback. And Freeman's got some players now. Good for Freeman. He's got some real ballers that can play corner. I always look back to the 2020 playoff game against Alabama where, God bless our players, but they couldn't hang with those guys. And I think Freeman is bringing in corners that could hang with and lock down even some of the best receivers in the country. So good for him. The second deficiency was wide receiver. And I don't see Freeman, at least in recruiting, addressing that as well as I would like. And when it comes to, portal transfers, I'm always very suspicious of them because, if they were that good, they would have jumped to the pros. And if they were that good, they would have stayed where they are. I do think that portal transfers from small schools are more likely, in my opinion, to be good players. And the reason is, and I don't want to be crude, but as a football player, you have your pick among the female students. And at a small school, you might have exhausted the supply. So there's a good reason for a good player to jump to a bigger school like Notre Dame. So, when I hear we get a kid from Clemson, there's 25,000 kids at Clemson. Why is this kid transferring? So I'm very suspicious of transfers from bigger schools. But at least he's trying with the transfer portal.
Yeah.
But as far as quarterbacks, I don't follow the recruiting that close. I don't know who did what and who said what, who tweeted what. But it seems like Freeman is improving the quarterback room. But I'm going to say this: when we're talking about quarterbacks, watch out for that Carr kid, because if you cut him, he bleeds Michigan blue. He does, and the only reason he's at Notre Dame is because the Carr family hated Carr Harbaugh. I mean, I'm familiar with some Michigan alum. There's a sizable faction in the Michigan alumni base that hated Harbaugh, hated him for years, and Carr was among that faction. Harbaugh badmouthed Michigan when he was at Stanford and stuff. And they have a long memory. And so my point is, Harbaugh's gone. Watch out for that Carr kid. I hope the apple has fallen far from that Michigan tree. But watch out. I mean, if that kid wants to transfer, it's so easy nowadays. And I'm sure his family would be behind it if the new regime in Michigan has a sufficient distance from Harbaugh watch out for a Michigan kid. I mean, don't put your faith in him.
It really seems to
I'm just
me.
saying, I'm not bad mouthing the young man. I'm just saying the facts are the facts, and he comes from a strong Michigan family.
I strongly think.
Him,
I think he's going to have every chance to earn the starting job next year. I think Notre Dame's going to be done going with the rental 1-year quarterback routine. And I believe he has his mind set on the starting job next year. And that's where I think his mind's at. And I think it's very realistic to think he could ascend to the starting job next year. And tying this into your portal comment, follow me here. If they're comfortable enough competing with what they have in the quarterback room and don't need to go to the portal, maybe then you could take whatever portal money we've been spending on these quarterbacks. You don't have to spend that the next year and then direct that into an interior D-line player or an edge rush or some other big piece you're going to need that's going to come at a big cost in the portal. Maybe that's a plan for next year. And you could redirect that money, refill that D-line or get an edge guy or whatever. But I think Carr has his mind fully on being the starter next year, and I would hope he does.
No, I think Carr is more likely to stay if he stays, if he plays this coming season, and I hope he does. I really do. But as far as the NIL money, I think NIL is going to fade largely into oblivion with this new court case that came out last week, and I think that Notre Dame is going to get. My fear is Notre Dame's going to get outbid routinely. Like, I'm down here in Florida. I know a guy who's plugged in with the University of Florida program, and what he's told me was, in this new regime, University of Florida is going to have about 30 preferred walk-ons. And why would a kid that could play D1 take a walk-on position? Because he's getting paid a giant amount of money, such that the tuition is nothing. They just deduct it out of his paycheck.
Yeah.
And what my friend was telling me was the whole 85, scholarship limit thing, all out the window. A scholarship doesn't mean hardly anything anymore when you can just pay a kid.
Yeah.
Right? What difference does it make?
Man,
and then they're going to bring in 30 kids that they were on the borderline with, as far as they like to call them 3 stars. Out of those 33 stars, you're going to get 5 or 6 real players, and they're going to pay them all.
Yeah.
And just weed them out over a year or two. And I just don't know that Notre Dame's going to pony up that kind of cash. I mean, we were too cheap a year and a half ago to pay the coordinator from Utah to come over. I mean, what makes us think that we're going to be able to, match dollar for dollar with these giant schools down south? I mean, it's bleak.
It's
bleak. It really is.
I see it cutting both ways. Pete Pavak was dedicated to Notre Dame football in a unique way compared to recent ADs. He's really obsessed with the football program. He knows Notre Dame's got to keep up with the Joneses regarding the NIL and the money and all that. He knows that Notre Dame's must do that as a baseline requirement to even have any chance of competing. And at the same time, he's got to thread the needle to also always understand education's going to be a part of Notre Dame players' lives at Notre Dame, and he's not going to want to lose that. So Bavakwa's got a very tough task, threading the needle between holding on to our academic values while keeping up with the Joneses in a world that feels like mini pro football. It's a very tough job. Pete's not going to let Notre Dame fall off the football radar on his watch. Pat, it's not going to happen. He's not going to do that. So he's going to try and keep Notre Dame up with the Joneses while maintaining our values. It isn't going to be easy, but Notre Dame's going to come up with the money, and that's what they're going to try and do.
Yeah, but how much money? In other words, how badly do you want it? Like, just for an example, LSU won a championship, and then a year and a half later, we're firing the head coach. Why? Because they take football really seriously. Can you even picture a scenario where Brian Kelly or any other coach, name the coach, wins a championship and gets walked out the door a year and a half later? No, you can't, because Notre Dame doesn't want it that bad. So I agree with you. Notre Dame's going to pony up more money than they are now, but is it going to be enough money to really get the blue chippers and to get to get that kind of a budget? I think requires buy-in by the president of the school, by the board of directors, the board of trustees, all of those people. I don't see that desire. And so, we'll field the team. We'll be in this same purgatory we've been in.
Are you just talking about players or staff as well? Like, they have the number one highest paid offensive coordinator in the entire country. Mike Denbrock is the highest paid offensive coordinator in the entire country. Does that not indicate some buy-in at a higher level than what we've seen lately, or no?
He's one guy. That's one line item in the budget. I mean, that's something that was within Swarbrick's authority. He's going to need a whole new budget. We're talking about an escalation in spend that is multiple times what it is now. And I got news that the people that run that school, I don't think they care that much. In fact, there was a person on the board of trustees about 10 years ago that slipped up and was either quoted or heard on tape saying, we don't want a football championship. It's too much, trouble, or has too many headaches associated with it. And so those types of people are running that show.
Let me tell you this.
Here and there.
Let me tell you this. I used to really think similarly to the way you are, but I have seen some things start to shift. To where you are getting more support in the football area from people that matter. I'm seeing it shift. Is it full-scale buy-in? You have at Georgia or Alabama or Ohio State all in on football? No, it's not going to be that. Notre Dame's never going to be that. But I used to be really, really hard on the administrative part of this, not supporting and respecting football the way I thought they needed to. I'm starting to see that change a little bit in favor of being more serious about the football. Is it where everybody wants it in all areas? No, but I am starting to feel a shift toward supporting it more than I have in pretty much my whole life. So that's where I'm at with it. But the actions are going to show it, what they're able to do, what Bavacqua can get done. And we'll go from there. But I'm seeing it change. You could disagree. That's fine. We don't have to agree.
Well, the question, the problem is Notre Dame football is always fighting the last war, not this war. And what I mean by that is, in a more simple example, Brian Kelly got, brutalized against Alabama back in 2012. And he says to himself, I got to beef up. I got to get a stronger team. I got to get bigger guys on offense and defense. Nick Saban, a year later, got boat raced against Oklahoma. And Nick Saban said, after that Oklahoma game, I got to adapt and get to the next level with my offense. Bring in wide receivers. I can't play this ground and pound game. Kelly was too dumb. He fought the last war, and he kept trying to do a ground and pound. So you fast forward to 2020, Kelly's got this ground and pound team, and Saban's one step ahead of him. And so what I'm getting at with your point is, we might be bringing more money up to close to where, the SEC teams used to be. What I'm telling you is the SEC teams are taking it 2 or 3 steps ahead. And so for us to say we're improving, that ain't enough. We got to totally change how we go about this. There needs to be orders of magnitude more money spent on football, not a coordinator here, a coordinator there. We're talking about gigantic influxes of cash that I don't see that board of trustees doing. I hope I'm wrong, but I see too much evidence on that campus of putting money into just ridiculous stuff. And
that's my old argument. That's my old argument. Here's my argument used to be, every time I get off that toll road, there's 4 new buildings and none of them safe for football. That used to be my
Yeah,
argument.
I mean, I think we're
People are asking you what evidence.
Are a mile ahead of
People are asking you in the chat what evidence. You said there's evidence, whatever. What comes to your mind of evidence?
What, evidence?
Yeah.
Are we having a serious discussion here today? We haven't won a championship in 30 years. That's my evidence, number one. Number two, they quoted a guy from the board of trustees 10 years ago, saying they don't want to win a championship. Let me tell you something. Here's the bottom line. Notre Dame is an institution run by priests. I'm a Catholic. I have nothing against priests. But they're not equipped to run an operation like a college football championship team. They're just not. And they're the top of the pyramid at Notre Dame. They are. And so, I don't really mind my priesthood not knowing that much about football. But it's a problem as a fan. I mean, would you buy stock in a company, where the CEO, his experience or her experience is working a lemonade stand? Of course not. But we have an institution where we're cheering for a team that is ultimately dictated by priests. We're so far away from what needs to be done to actually win a championship, and we're just chasing last year's SEC standard when the SEC is moving way past us as we speak, and we think throwing a couple bucks here and there is going to make a difference. No, I'm telling you, you have to change the whole way you go about this. Seismic change, and I don't see it. I don't see the will to do that. I don't see it.
Man,
I haven't seen it for 30
that's
years.
that's a dire outlook. People are pushing back. They're saying, what about Crossroads? What about the new Goog Part 2 facility? What about all that? Doesn't move the needle?
Let me tell you, facilities are garbage. They're not garbage. They're garbage if you're using them as a tool for recruiting. It's ridiculous. Kids these days, they care about, number one, money, and number two, the girls. Those two things. Everything else is really just garbage. You think a kid really commits to a school because they have a new weight room? Really?
Dude, I really thought you were gonna when you said it surprises you less when a guy from a small school is looking to transfer into Notre Dame. I really thought you were gonna say he was likely recruited because he was underdeveloped, and then he developed and filled out his frame, and then he was ready to jump into a bigger league. But no, you went with the girls. It made me smile. I really thought you were going with he was under recruited and then he developed and he's ready for a bigger Power 5 type level. And then you went with the access to the ladies, and it made me laugh. Sorry.
I mean, look, I was a student of that. Let me tell you something. Those players, football players, I'm talking about the other sports, football players, have their pick among the girls. I mean, it's truly disgusting. And I got to be honest with you. Your boy Goolsby gets on these shows and he whines about stuff. And I'm like, dude, 10,000 people would trade places with you for your Notre Dame experience. Stop crying about it. Good Lord. I worked in the dining hall cleaning dishes. I was slopping food off plates and with my left hand sweeping it into this filthy moat. That's my experience of 4 years. And you know what? The girls had nothing to do with me. You know why? Because I smelled like the filth I was slopping in the dining hall. And yet Goolsby acts like he was some kind of a martyr, that the Coke machine in the weight room wasn't working. Whatever the hell he complains about. That guy needs to get a grip. And I like Goolsby. I like him. He's half the reason I watch the show. Like, come on, stop with the whole how tough you have.
That's funny though. You're like, I like him, and that's why I watch the show. But I'm mad at him at the same time. I mean, hey, but I like learning about their experience, and you got to expect it to be different for a regular student than a player. It makes total sense that he would have a different experience than you in different challenges, right?
Obviously, and I would trade places with him in a second, and so would 10,000 other people. And he should understand that.
I think he understands that, but he also, likes to be real about some of the challenges. I see it both ways.
Yeah, then I once heard him. This is the last thing I'm going to say because I'm taking up too much of your time. But I heard him once say that, and he was telling some kind of a story about how Tim Brown wasn't given free tickets to like a home game or something. And I was saying to myself, Tim Brown spent 13 years in the NFL. If he's not worth $25 million, I don't even know what to say. Yet a man worth $25 million is entitled to free tickets. Why doesn't he get his own tickets? And don't give me the whole he won a Heisman. Good for him, and he had a great career. Good for him. And I like Tim Brown. I have nothing against him. And Tim Brown, to his credit, wasn't the one crying about this. Goolsby was crying about it on behalf of Tim Brown. And I was saying to myself, my word.
No, I kind of agree with Goolsby. If you're Tim Brown and you win a Heisman, you should not have to buy tickets at Notre Dame. They should unroll the red carpet, welcome you back. You should be able to roam the sideline and be seen so everybody could see what Notre Dame greatness looks like. It is an insult that a Notre Dame Heisman winner couldn't get a ticket. Like, no, I totally agree with that. You need to roll out the red carpet and let your Heisman guy be around whenever he wants. I think that's fair.
All right. Well, I don't want to take any more of your time. I'm sure you have other callers. But I'm Pat from West Palm. The last time you said I'm from Palm Beach. I'm not from Palm Beach.
Oh.
I'm from West Palm. I work for a living. It's Pat from West Palm. John, I love the show. Just had to get some things off my chest. I really appreciate it.
No problem, man. Hey, don't let none of this get to you, man. In the chat and everything, that's just the way it goes. Don't let it get to you.
All right, man. Take care.
Have a good one. That one's throwing me off, you guys. Is anybody? I'm a little. Usually, there's a lot. There's a lot there. There's a lot there. Like, I'm having trouble, like. Am I misinterpreting this, or were we wading into like it's fine and then it's like not fine, and then we're kind of in the football, but then there's like real life stuff here too? Am I the only one? There was a lot of meat on that bone, bro. Coming after my guy, Goolsby? Shit. Bruce. Give me some good news, Bruce.
John, what's good, bro?
I just like hearing your voice. That last call was quite the journey, Bruce. We went around the corner and through the woods, and we explored a lot of weird areas there. I'm open. Where are you coming from today?
Yeah, so I just wanted to actually take it back to the A&M game, and as usual, you got me here in the office with the door closed while I called into the show.
Oh, I like that.
It's been a while, but
Bruce, you got to just tell them. Yeah. You got to tell them if somebody knocks on the door. Bruce, what do you do? I'm on an important conference call for this business. Don't you want us to succeed? You got to leave me alone. Right. Like, give me 20 minutes in a conference room. It's a big client. Give me a break.
That's funny. No, I wanted to touch on the A&M game coming up here.
Yeah.
And so I had a couple of thoughts. So I hear you guys keep talking about or referencing that Elko knows Riley Leonard extremely well. He knows all his weaknesses. He knows how to attack him. But I haven't heard anyone saying the converse, that Riley Leonard, he's been in that system for a few years, so he knows the weaknesses of that defense. And so he knows how to attack it. And now when you combine that with the fact that Denbrock has been in the SEC for a couple of years, obviously at LSU with Kelly, so he's played A&M a few times. He knows those athletes, that personnel on that defense for the most part. So he knows, who he can attack. So you get the combination of Riley Leonard and Mike Denbrock working all summer to not only, learn his offense, but to scheme up against A&M. Why is no one talking about that? That combination right there could be very good against the A&M defense, and I haven't heard anyone mentioning it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point too. Bruce, when I think about this, there's so many different ways this ball game could play out, and I'm just not sure which path is the most likely and how it's going to get there. There's a million different ways that I could see this going. And the big thing is, Bruce, here's one big calculation I don't know how to account for. How put together is Texas A&M going to be week 1, game 1, year 1 of a new staff with 30 transfers out, 28 coming in, all these moving parts? I cannot grasp how well put together or not they are going to be week 1 right out of the gate in year 1. And I think that's a big part of this equation for this game. And I have no way to calculate how put together or not and they're going to be able to be.
That's fair. I think for me, one of the biggest things I'm looking at, and honestly, you and I have talked about this before, the biggest thing I'm looking at, it's all about Notre Dame's depth, right? Because we know obviously the weather down there is going to be a concern. That heat, that humidity in the deep south, obviously coming from Indiana, it's not going to be the same. I don't know how you prep or condition for that. I don't know if you put them inside the indoor facility and
Bruce,
turn up the heat. And
Bruce,
I have no idea.
I'm telling you,
for that.
bro,
Yeah.
that's my idea. They have that little building that they do their, like if it rains, they go inside to practice in that little building.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Bro, you might need to lock them all in there with no AC and let them all run and sweat and build up the humidity. And then you know what? And no AC and no fans, let them sweat it out. And you know what else I'm doing?
Right.
I'm cranking that music to volume 400 in there too. And I want you I want you in a nightmare, and I want you sweating,
pumping the crowd,
noise and music. And maybe you need to do that because even that August humidity in Indiana is different than that Texas stuff. It's just a different world.
Absolutely, totally different ball game. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. But yeah, the other big thing, and this is something I mentioned that you and I have discussed, it's the depth. That's going to be the key. Has Marcus Freeman built enough depth that he can continue to roll in quality level substitutions, 3-star, 4-star substitution guys? Because when you look at Notre Dame, and obviously you do, the thing has always been our first 22 generally stacks up pretty well with whoever we're playing. But when we play the big boys and they got continually 4 and 5 stars rolling in, and now we got 2 stars rolling in, the difference, that's where it shows up. When we played the Clemsons, when we played the Bams, that's where it really shows up. So the first 22 can't play the whole game. So we are really going to see if Freeman has built enough depth that it can compete at a high level while our starters get a blow. And I think that's the biggest thing.
And you want to know what else? I'm going to take what you said and expand on it. I believe your depth philosophy about playing like an SEC A&M type team, I believe that also applies to the new playoff era. If anybody expects Notre Dame to beat 4 teams in the top 12 in a row in that final month, you're going to need good depth because people are going to get dinged, people are going to get beat up, and those ball games are going to be physical and everybody's going all out. Teams that have better depth are going to have a way better chance of navigating that. And that's something I'm watching.
Yeah. I also think in a playoff scenario, and then I'll let you go, I think I've been thinking about this. In any playoff scenario, in any sport, there's always the element of luck more than anything else that's going to be involved. Maybe you get an upset here or there so you don't have to run into a worse matchup. Obviously, you can't count on that when you're preparing to be the best team that you can be and build the best program you can build. You can't count on that, but going into those situations, it happens. Upsets happen, so maybe you don't have to play Georgia and you end up playing, I don't freaking know, Team X, right? And so, and I said Georgia because I don't expect Alabama to be the monster that they were under Nick Saban. I fully expect Kirby Smart to step into those shoes and take over that in the SEC. But the point is, you're going to see some upsets happen, and it's a function of, can Notre Dame do what they have to do to be in position to hopefully take advantage wherever the upset takes place. So there's that.
Yeah, that makes sense as well. And then tell me if you agree with this. Any year Notre Dame's really going to make a run, or it even be possible in this playoff scenario now, I believe it starts with a home game round one. Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
I have a hard
1000%.
time seeing them go on the road for that one and make it a big run. I look at it as such an advantage as far as the seating and who you would host and the actual physical hosting as well. I believe that for them to really make a deep run, if it's ever going to happen, I could almost bet you it's going to start with a home playoff game first.
Yeah. Could you imagine, let's say, because we're going to get probably a lower seeded SEC. Well, no, it's going to, Notre Dame has the 5, then it'll be the 12. So it'll probably be a group of 5 teams.
Yeah.
So let's say hypothetically, what's a group of 5 team that would, I don't even know. UCF came to my mind.
Yeah, I don't
now, but you get the point. But imagine UCF coming up from Orlando to play in freaking snow and slush and ice in December in South Bend. Like, that would be a serious advantage. But remember what I told you, John. It's only going to take 1 or 2 years, and it's not just Notre Dame, but of an Ohio State, a Michigan, a Notre Dame, a Northern team, a Wisconsin, whoever it may be, hosting a playoff game and getting a team from the South to play in those horrible elements. They will move those games inside. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Remember, I said it. It's going to happen.
You have been on that from the beginning. And I know, like, I have my little things that bug me here in the Midwest. I know that's coming directly from a man who loves Notre Dame, but is stuck in SEC country. That's what that is, man. You can see, you know well enough there that SEC office isn't going to react kindly to that. And they're going to put an end to it if they can.
Quickly.
Yeah.
It's only going to take a couple of years before a Southern team, they're like, no, we're not dealing with this. Absolutely not. And then you're going to see those games get moved to indoor neutral sites, even if they are still up north.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
Man, that sucks. I love the idea of Notre Dame and that home game around Christmas. Santa Claus, I got Rudolph flying around the stadium. Like, dude, it's magical. It's a winter wonderland in Johnny's brain. Like, I love everything about it, man. We need to get there. Anything else popping in SEC land, Bruce, before I let you go?
I've been following the NBA a whole lot right now, obviously with my show and everything, because it's obviously not a just college football centric program. So I haven't really taken the time to get into it. So as we get closer and have SEC have the meetings and all that stuff, so we'll see. But I really don't have anything to add on that right now.
It's going to be really interesting. Bruce, I really appreciate you sneaking off for this very important work call that couldn't wait. Right? That's the story we're going with. I really appreciate that. And everybody check out Bruce over at The Format podcast. You can find him on YouTube and on Twitter as well. Bruce, anything else on the way out? Thanks, man.
Nah, man, appreciate you taking the call.
Have a good one. And send my regards to your family, okay?
Will do. Ben is super excited. He thought that you're going to be sitting with us at the game. I had to explain to him that you're not, but we'll see you at the tailgate. At which point I had to explain to him what a tailgate is because he didn't know yet. So
yeah, no, it'll be fun, man. And we have a lot of people coming. You'll know a lot of these names from Twitter. Some folks from Canada are going to make the first trip with their kids just to kind of be there for it.
Nice.
We're going to have a really big, good group. Weather will be warm, and it should be a really fun day. We're looking forward to seeing everybody.
Absolutely. Well, you take it easy, man. Thanks.
Have a good one, Bruce. Everybody loves your magical pipes there, man. I love the way Bruce, man, he's got them golden radio pipes. I'm picturing like late night R&B DJ vibes from Bruce with that voice, just smooth and silky, baby. I love that voice. Jerry Reinsdorf's burner. John, are you upset that Angel Hernandez is retiring? He's been umpiring like he's been retired for 15 years. He has literally been working as if he's retired. He's so unbelievably bad with the strike zone. It's just astounding to me you could be that off on your strike zone and still be a major league umpire for this long. I mean, it's astounding. Once they started having the technology to draw a digital square and then you see every pitch. I mean, he misses balls by 8 inches. You can't be a pro umpire and miss strikes by 8 inches, either for or against, either way. Just the air outside. I mean, this guy, he may be retired or whatever. He's been umping like he's been retired. It's awful. Also, Jerry Reinsdorf's burner. Did you see what we did to you at the game the other day? I won't step foot in your building till you are gone and a new owner. But for some who did, they sat in the front row of the upper deck and rolled that banner down with the big color photo of you with the red nose on. Sell the team, you clown. Sell it. You're an insult. You are the worst team, and it isn't even close. And you can't even be like, we're the worst team, but at least we're going to get the first draft pick. You don't even get that because all the technicalities of the draft and who could do what. Ruin my summer, why don't you? You, Jerry, ruin my summer. Thanks for nothing, bro. And you know what else pisses me off about him? You accidentally got that title in 05. That team wasn't big money built team. This is going to be the year. It just all came together because of Ozzy and the personalities and the guys on that team that had career years all at the same time. And it all worked. That was an accident. Seriously, you didn't go out of your way. Let's pony up. This is going to be the year and everything. You didn't do that. You lucked into that one in 05. Unbelievable. Pisses me off. Sell the team. Sell the team. And while we're yelling about Chicago stuff and all this crap, let's get into this too. Adam sent me this text too. Oh, the Bears are going to redo a lakefront stadium and we're going to do all this stuff. Where now are you supposed to park? Huh? Where in the hell are you supposed to park? There's already no parking basically at Soldier Field. Now there's like, what 14 spots by the beach there or what? For 70,000 people? Where are you going to park? My number one question when I saw all the renderings for Soldier Field, all this stuff, my number one question was, yeah, that's all cool and shiny. Where the hell am I going to park? How am I going to get in on here and not take 4 hours each way? So here's my idea. I'm going to build a floating parking garage in the lake. It's the easiest way. Think about it. You're landlocked. You have Lakeshore Drive. Then you have downtown. You're totally landlocked and then water on the other side. You need to build a little bridge and have a floating in the lake. Like you got a floating lake casino or whatever. You're doing a floating parking garage. And then if I don't like what happens, I just break it loose and all the cars float into the lake. I don't know. 720, what do you know? Mason, I got you, man. I'm sorry. I just saw that late. I'll get you next. 720, what's up?
John, how are you, man?
I'm doing okay, man. It's a little, I feel like Notre Dame fans are like kind of in their own minds a little bit this summer, dude. There's a lot of anxiety, I feel, and a lot of people worried about a lot of things. And I'm just trying to like be level-headed about it, but it's the summer and it's the time where not much happens so you can get in your own head. It's a dangerous time. What's on your mind?
Well, first, out here in Colorado, Fran DeSanti, hope none of the kids I coach listen to this. I need to send you a Colorado care package to maybe ease your mind, take a load off. That's a total joke, but
I like it.
Little MJ from Colorado probably out.
Dude, you guys were early on that too, man. You guys got way ahead of that trend. Like it was, I mean, I would have friends who would drive out there and come back with a trunk full of goodies. Like, I mean, it was like, I remember they were like, we're taking a Colorado trip, and they would literally have a trunk full of like, bro, how many gummies could one person need in a lifetime type stuff,
Yeah, it happened when I was fairly young too, and my friends from college, when I just graduated college, would be like, "Hey, can you send me some stuff in the mail?" And I'd be like, I think that's a federal
Yeah,
offense."
you're not supposed to cross the
But
state lines with it when it's like that, you know?
yeah. So, all jokes aside, yeah, I'm a Broncos fan when it comes to the NFL. So we're gonna be crying for days if we talk about the NFL. I don't even look at that right now.
Yeah.
Like I won't look at that for another 10 years, probably. But no, what's on my mind is, man, this transfer portal and all these lawsuits coming down. Here's a question: what would stop a kid going forward from signing with like the XFL or the CFL or the USFL right out of high school if he's not going to be playing for one of these major colleges? And I think based on these lawsuits, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I haven't read it into it enough, but for some of these smaller schools going to be dropping their programs. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Because if a kid signs with the XFL, would he still have the eligibility to jump back into college football? I don't know. I'm not that smart, so maybe someone in the chat can answer too.
Do you mean because there's no amateur status, so why would you not be able to do that and then do something else? Is that what you mean?
Exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, why, if we're taking away the amateur status, why, like, since you, maybe you have a short NFL career and then you want to go to college and then you jump back in and you're getting paid,
Interesting.
to get your degree.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think of it that way. I didn't think of it that way. Let me ask this, and maybe you've thought about this too. I don't know. I can't figure this out. Does the reality of the new setup where everybody's going to get paid, does that help Notre Dame or hurt Notre Dame? Does that help them compete because a freshman's now going to get paid where before the only freshmen getting paid were pay for play and Notre Dame doesn't do that for freshmen? Does it level the playing field and help Notre Dame in some ways? Or does this hurt Notre Dame? I'm trying to figure out the realities.
I think it's going to, I think it's a good question. I think it's going to start with the administration. And is Notre Dame going to be willing to pay what the other colleges are paying across the board? I could also see some of these private schools like your Stanford, Notre Dame, Northwestern. Maybe they go, hey, we're not going to do this. We're going to go back to we're an academic institution and go back to a different model, an older way. Because
I mean, you can do that. You could do that, but you're not winning a championship again. You're not getting any good players, and then I'm shutting this show down.
Right.
If Notre Dame joins the Ivy League Junior with Stanford and then whatever, and we're not, then I'm done. I'm only interested in this if you're in the big leagues. I'm done then. There's nothing for me to do. Why am I wasting my voice and having my hair fall out then?
No, I agree 100%. This lawsuit and all this, like, getting rid of amateurism, it's a joke. I mean, you read these horror stories, these kids think they're getting a car. Well, they're just leasing a car. It's not, and I don't think this is going to make it better. I almost think that, I hate saying this, but I almost think the old way was better. Like, the way NIL was designed for was, if the school's making tons of money off of your jersey like they were with Tim Tebow, now it's out of control. I mean, it's driving around, and I see this firsthand at University of Colorado here. The kids, they won 4 games, and you got Shiloh the Sanders kid. I don't know which one's Shadura. He's one of the highest paid players in college football.
Yeah.
Same with the Manning kid. He's a backup, and it's like, what are we doing here? And then the other one just declared bankruptcy, so he doesn't pay for a guy that he punched when he was a kid. That it's been an ongoing 10-year lawsuit. So I just think that at the end of the day, we're not getting kids graduated, which is still the most important thing. our great coaches are leaving for a reason. Dabo is not going to stay too much longer, and he's completely right about the transfer portal. You got a bunch of backups wanting to play somewhere else, and they're not willing to transfer to a smaller school, so they just sit there. I think the fact that Saban's not in there, I just wonder how much longer this can be sustained.
And
because I think you're going to see a lot of kids.
Yeah, you have
have degrees,
sustainability. You have sustainability overall, but where our focus is and mine is, I'm not sure exactly where Notre Dame fits in this new reality moving forward. I'm not sure on the positive or the negative. I'm not sure where Notre Dame fits in a world that seems like it's racing to NFL light, but we still value education and some of those morals and all that. I'm just not sure where Notre Dame fits into it all. And there's some anxiety there. And the further down this path we go, it seems I'm less sure of exactly where our standing and footing would be in that niche.
Oh, I see. I know this is going to sound crazy, but I could see a break off. I could see after a lot of like the Wake Forest, the Notre Dame, all those like private schools that do value some education. And maybe this is how it should be. Maybe we should be we should go back to that way, or like a modified version, but helping kids get degrees, better their long-term future, not just the now. None of these kids with this NIL money, they're not saving it. They're not buying homes. They're not investing in it. They're blowing it. Like the last guy talked about chicks the whole time. You're telling me you're going to give a bunch of alpha male.
Dude, I didn't expect that, man. It really threw me off. He was like, you got these guys at lower schools and they're going to look to move up. And I thought he was going to say like they come into their own as players and they're ready to be on the big. No, he said they burned through all the chicks at the junior college.
That was hilarious.
I didn't see it coming. I really didn't see it coming, but he went that angle. It was great.
Pretty funny, but I see it. It's really unfortunate because there was a common ground and there was a logical solution for this a long time ago. Now it is all messed up, all these lawsuits, and at the end of the day, the most people that are going to benefit from these lawsuits are the attorneys.
Yeah. Tell me
like,
about it. Imagine being able to bill the SEC for your hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, but I definitely see like, I don't know. It like your Ohio State, Michigan. You're at some of your schools in your SEC, not all of them. Kentucky can't front the money like Bama can, and you know what I mean. Like some of the smaller, or not at Vanderbilt, they're not going to be in that. So I just think that Notre Dame needs to really get ahead of this. The new administration needs to want to win. That's the other thing. Like, or the new athletic director, and I tell you what, they cannot have another failed attempt at getting a offensive coordinator like they did with Utah's coordinator. I'm not sold on Dan Brock. But man, I think with the A&M game, Notre Dame just comes in, and this is how I think it's going to go. I think it's like a 24-17 game. Notre Dame wins, but they're going to have to win it dirty. And what I mean by that is, it's Riley Leonard's first. You're going to have to see him do a lot with his legs that first game, right? Because it's a new coordinator, new quarterback, but the defense is solid. So they're just going to have to kind of wear him down with their defense, where they are just grinding it out, getting turnovers, and they win that 24-17 game, and they get out of there with that W. But I think that it's a lot to ask a new coordinator, and in a new quarterback to go in there in that first game.
Well, I don't
know who that
I need
I
it.
go that, but they should get.
I need
Was
it.
that Jack? That.
Bro, you just cut out, man. Sorry about that. I couldn't. You faded and you cut out and then you were gone. Give me a call another day. I swear I didn't cut him off. He like faded and then the line went out. Colorado, the people at Colorado are in charge of the phones are on too many gummies. Mason, what's going on, man? Kind of a wild morning on the phone lines today. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I was getting active in the chat earlier, having a good time. I'm working from home today, so I guess not really being that productive, but I'd called in when you were
this is very
on your rant about
productive.
the
No, it's all about priorities.
Yeah.
You're being very, very productive, worrying about Notre Dame football in late May. Dude, Mason, I just feel like everybody, you have all this summer layoff. Everybody's thinking of everything 50 different ways, and it gets in your mind. We're in a weird place as the collective Notre Dame group. I'm open to your thoughts. What do you think about any of it?
Well, first, I just wanted to say that last night, Pedro Grifol said that nobody wants to win more than Jerry Reinsdorf. So I wanted to, I don't know if you saw that, but
Christ.
That's just absurd. And then second, it's just a weird time of year. I think last time we were on here, we were worried about recruiting, and then Dallas Golden popped, and Mark Zachary popped, and now it's looking like Grubbs is going to pop here in the next week or two. So things are looking better on the recruiting side. I'd like to see Notre Dame land a receiver or two in the month of June, and I think it'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't tell you which two. I would say that like the top 5 that they're in for, whether it's Meadows, Taylor, Chinook Hines. There's a couple others I'm missing, but they're all like in the same position for like 5 of those guys. So I think you just take the two that are willing to that are willing to pop, and you go from there. You got Don Blair still on the board.
Yeah,
too,
that's what I was going to ask about. I was going to ask about him as well. It looks like there's a Will Fong crystal ball out for that one.
Yeah, so Michigan and Penn State are all over Blair too. I think Notre Dame's been the lead for a long time. It's just the DB spots are filling up super fast. So I don't think Blair necessarily anticipated that. Zachary was looking Notre Dame for a long time. I think Golden was too, but I don't think that Blair necessarily anticipated them popping as quickly as they did. So he needs to get a spot before it's gone.
Yeah, man. What are your thoughts on all this Deuce stuff? You know how this goes, man. People are expecting to get burned here, and they're expecting it. And you see these articles, and some of it's clickbait in the summer. What are you going to write about to keep your recruiting clicks going? All that. I understand the game. What do you think the realities of this relationship are between him and Notre Dame and him and the SEC?
Yeah, I think it's all super interesting, and I think that we won't really know until we see how this 12-team playoff goes. I think we're going to know a lot about how Notre Dame's positioned to succeed after this first year of it, and we'll go from there. But they're already talking about expanding it again, and you had touched on earlier that expecting Notre Dame to win 4 in a row against top 12 teams is kind of crazy, and you especially need that first one to be at home. So definitely pushing for a home game, although you and I were saying the other day that you probably won't be able to be there, man, because I know you got to do your show.
I know. It's hard, man. The bigger the moment, the more I want to be there. But then the bigger the night, it would be on YouTube. So I'm in between.
Right. No, I get it. Yeah. I'm do everything I can to be there, but
it's history.
I got a show to run.
I mean, that's going to be history. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be something never, ever that's happened in Notre Dame, but it's going to be a big, big deal. And if you get a little,
the weather's awful.
Yeah. So the next thing out of my mouth is I want a winter wonderland. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. I want all of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's, this is a weird time of year. Everybody's in their own heads. There's not a ton of stuff going on to really grab onto. You have recruiting and then wrapping your mind around what's going to happen in the first game of the year, man. How big is this A&M game? Mason, this A&M game, it just feels like the ultimate needle mover, does it not? For all the momentum, practically and perceptually, it just feels like there's a lot riding on that one.
it does feel big, but then I don't know, you have some people where it's just like A&M hasn't won 10 games in 15 years or something like that, so they're saying it's not a big game. I think it is going on the road beating an SEC team, but to prove you're a big program, you need to go in there and beat them by 2 scores. That's what Bama, Georgia, that's what Ohio State would do to them. So I think it's a I don't know if it's a needle mover, but it's like proving that Marcus is the guy. We're going in and winning a game that Kelly probably wouldn't. So you go in there, hopefully kick their ass, and then go on, because your next 4 or 5 games after that really aren't that tough. You get to prepare for your schedule later on, build some depth, and see what you really have in this team. But you got to have all the chips in for week 1.
Yeah, you definitely do. And I really have no way to gauge what to expect from A&M. I have no way to gauge what how put together they're going to be, how the 30 transfers out and the 28 in are going to adjust, how well Elko could get his group to be coordinated week 1, year 1, game 1. Like, there's a lot of questions I don't have answers to on their end and our end. Like, it's just going to be an interesting experiment in front of the whole world.
I had said in the chat earlier that, especially with, it's going to be at night, their fans are rowdy, but with it being the first game under Elko, I think you just got to go out there and hit them in the mouth right away, take the crowd out of it. And if you can do that, I see us winning by 2 or 3 scores. But if you let them get excited and do a classic Notre Dame thing in a big game where an early interception, or you fumble a punt or a kick, and you give them the ball inside the 20, all of a sudden they're up 2 scores in the first quarter, then you're fucked. Then it's bad.
Yep. And we've seen it way too many times. And then the crowd that's already going to be into it cranks it up to another level. And then you're up against it. And then you just can't do it, man. You got to go in there and get leverage early. It's a big moment.
And then you get all those weirdos in their overalls screaming and yelling and doing their chants.
Mason, it's very, very, there's some odd things that go on there. One of their on-campus groups just got busted for underage kid stuff. Like, there is a lot of weird stuff that goes on there. I'm very uncomfortable even thinking about it. I don't think they got any shorts on underneath them overalls. Like, I don't trust anything, dude. I don't trust them at all. They are weird and bizarre. I want nothing to do with them, and I want us to win and then get the hell out of there.
Right. Last time I was up to see my parents, my dad was saying we need to go to an away game. Him and I have never been to a Notre Dame away game together, and he was talking about going to A&M. And I was like, in theory, that sounds super cool, but I don't know. I've just never been in, like, hostile territory before, and I just feel like they'd be weird.
Yeah, there's something going on down there. I think they drink the oil or something right out of the ground. Like, I don't know, man. I think there's something weird going on.
It got to be. I think we might end up just doing Purdue, but Purdue's scary at night, man. I don't know. I couldn't handle going into Purdue and losing.
That's going to be an interesting one, too. I don't know what to... Mason, is Purdue a little tricky? Because I feel like we're a bigger game to them than they are to us. And does that make it a difficult situation when it's right down the road? Like, I honestly feel that way. I feel that way. Purdue looks at us differently than we look at them, and I think that's a little bit tricky. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
Rivalry. It's been one-sided, and they always play us tough, but I kind of wonder if they've lost that Jeff Brown magic, like where they played Ohio State tough every single year. And stuff like that, where when they're at home and you're just like, oh, shoot, like, things could happen real quickly. I haven't seen that under their new coach yet. I mean, it's only been a year or two, so we'll see what happens. But they'll be up for it. I mean, Notre Dame's used to that every game is the other team's Super Bowl. So hopefully, to be honest, that's the game I'm most concerned about. Maybe just because I'm friends with a lot of Purdue grads and they're super excited, but.
Yeah, and then you know what else? Louisville at home. What do you think about that? Do you think there's no way at home that's going to be a totally different dynamic, and there's no way Notre Dame's doesn't have full attention for this one, and it's totally different ball game this time around?
I hope Freeman shows the game on repeat and shows all the mistakes they made over and over and let them know that, like, that's what derailed last year, and they show up fired up and score 28 in the first quarter. I think I think they'll come out fired up and beat Louisville handily, but that's just how I feel now. I think that they were just so outmatched. I don't want to say like they weren't prepared, because I think they were. They just like Freeman hasn't shown, and this team hasn't shown the ability to win big games on the road yet. And I guess that's what makes me nervous about A&M.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. And then obviously November 9th, Florida State at home. It depends on where both teams are at from earlier in the year, but that could be a very, very big telling weekend at Notre Dame if Notre Dame positions themselves right up to that point. Yeah.
DJU is allergic to South Bend. I'm not worried about that guy.
That is a good point. We have multiple go-arounds. And then you know what else, Mason? When we have the odd years and we go to LA last game of the year, I almost can't spend a ton of time worrying about USC because it's the last game of the year. And there's all that body of work that's going to build in to shape the feeling of that game being the last game. That's so much different than anything on the front end of the schedule. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, and USC is going to be beat up and done by then. I think that they're going to be ready for the season to be over.
Yeah.
They're going to be 7-4, maybe 6-5. They're ready to be done with Notre Dame. I anticipate that being a big win. USC, like, to their credit, their schedule's brutal this year.
Yeah, it is.
They don't handle physical teams very well. They're made to run and gun like in the Pac-12, which is fine. That worked for them before, but I don't see them being up for getting beat up in the trenches in the 12th game of their year where they've already lost 5 games.
Yeah, it's it's going to be really interesting to see those teams migrate over from the West Coast. Although I got to tell you, it wouldn't surprise me at all if you had an Oregon, Ohio State Big Ten championship game. That might be my early pick for it.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, I can't.
The new Big Ten's crazy.
I know. And you know what else is going to happen, Mason? A lot of those Big Ten teams that are used to being at a certain level, some of them are going to get knocked down a couple pegs because some of these West Coast teams, even though they're from the West Coast and have to adjust, are going to be better than a lot of those like middle tier Big Ten teams. Some of them are going to lose a few wins every year from this, and they're not going to like it. I'm telling you that right now.
I'm anticipating that happening to, a Wisconsin, a Penn State like that. They're your 4th or 5th team in the old Big Ten that usually can make some noise, usually ranked. A lot of people are thinking Iowa's going to be super good this year. I think that they struggle with those, those spread offenses like the USC's and Oregon's can run. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be super interesting stylistically. Yeah,
it's going to be, man, what an exciting year, man. You have so many big changes. You have the new playoff. It's just going to be really interesting. And we all know the history of year 3 coaches at Notre Dame. For whatever reason, it seems to be a harbinger of what's to come or not to come or whatever. So it's going to be a big year, man. Come on and break some recruiting down when we get a little further in the summer. We'll spend some time and look at where we're at. Does that sound good?
Yeah, without getting myself in trouble, June will be a good month for us, John. So I'll come on maybe the last week of June. Beautiful. That sounds good. Hey, thanks for taking the time, man. Have a good day. I'm glad you worked hard here and gave me a call today of working from home. Appreciate it, man. Hashtag for sure, hashtag priorities. Good job. That's right. I'll hang up and listen. Thanks, John. Thank you. Appreciate you, Mason. Oh, man. Good dude. 618, make it great. Last caller of the day. Johnny's got to go. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, man? I want to get back to that last caller who was talking about, like Tim Brown not getting free tickets. Man, he's the last Heisman Trophy winner. That's a recruiting tool,
Yeah, no, I push back on him. It is not about Tim Brown having the money to buy his own tickets. That's not it. It's about Notre Dame having the respect for Heisman winner, your last one, to come and promote all that and want him to be involved and give him access to anything he wants access to because he's your Heisman winner and that's how you treat that guy. It ain't about the money. It's about the respect for what he did for you.
And then Elko is better than Freeman. Man, come on, man. Elko is a good coach, and he's the X's and O's guy, but he can't recruit like he can't recruit like Freeman. And then with Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC, when you was the lone SEC team in the Southwest in Texas, now Texas is a part. UT is a part of. Man, they're going to be down for a long time, man. I'm sorry, Elko not going to be able to save that program.
Man, dude, you're going against the grain on that. I think a lot of people feel like Elko's going to be able to rebuild them and gain some consistency pretty quickly. I haven't heard too many people going the way you're going.
Yeah, it's not Elko. It's just that, man, you got Texas, who's going to be good for a long time to come. Oklahoma going to be mediocre, but I think they'll be better than A&M.
Hey, how do you think Texas? Where do you think Texas is going to slot into that SEC? What do you think of their roster and how they're going to transition? Yeah,
I think they're going to be in the upper echelon because they always did recruit like SEC teams. You got to think once before, man. When the SEC came calling, they didn't ask for A&M. A&M was begging to get to the SEC. They wanted Texas, and Texas didn't want the SEC.
Yeah, man. There's so much to watch for this year. The new look SEC, all those West Coast teams into the Big Ten, the expanded playoff. Like, there is a lot to watch. It's going to be a great year. We just have to get through. We just got to get through 12 more weeks, man. We got to come up with something to talk about for 12 weeks.
Yeah, man. And I just think, like, man, A&M is not going to be as good as everybody thinks they're going to be. I mean, I'm thinking maybe 6-6, maybe 7-5.
Yeah, oh man, I don't know what to make of it.
I haven't looked at their schedule. But Notre Dame, that's a loss. I mean, I know it's going to be a tough environment, and it's going to be more than 24-17, man. I don't think A&M, looking at their spring game, and I don't think they're going to be able to move the ball on Notre Dame defense, and then I think Notre Dame offense should be good enough to put up 30.
Man, I'm losing my mind. I'll be honest. I'm losing my mind when we think about A&M. There's so many different ways that game could go. Like, I can see so many different ways it can go, and I don't know which one's the most likely and the most realistic. I don't. Even if our offense takes a while to get going and it takes a few games, I expect Notre Dame's defense to come ready to play right away. Right away.
Yeah, I just don't see a lot coming out of it. And you look at Elko. Elko did real good with the defenses that do. The offense is stunk. So,
yeah,
besides that one, the offense is really stunk, man. And anybody think that?
And you know what? Offensive line was a big part of it. They just don't have what you need there. And that also, if Notre Dame gets their offensive line stuff together, that should make Riley Leonard even better because he didn't really have anything to lean on with that was big time at Duke. So that's a part of it too.
And the Corey and Moore kid decommitted from LSU, and
yeah, I saw that.
And Texas go after him, and A&M just sit back and say, "Hey, nah, he won't come here anyway." He's an in-state kid. You know what I mean? Austin ain't that far from Dallas, and Western ain't that far from Dallas either. College Station, you got to say, "Hey, man, no, man, you should come here. This is the reason why you should come here." He's not even recruiting from top kids in the state of Texas.
Yeah. Man,
so that's what's going to hurt. That's what's going to hurt A&M, man. And he'll be just like any other A&M coach over the last 10 years, man. He kick off 3-4 years out of them, 3-4 mediocre years out of them, and then he'll be gone with the win.
There you go, man. I mean, and you know what else I think about too? You're going to have Elko week 1, year 1, game 1. What's A&M going to look like year 2? Because if you're a believer in Elko, then you must believe that if he has a full year to get his whole operation going and running, when they come to our place the following year, they should be a lot better team. Yeah, we'll be at home, But theoretically, if you're an Elko believer in his operation and program, they should be in a lot better shape by then. So that's going to be a tough opener 2 years in a row.
Yeah, and I believe year 2 they'll be ready. I think year 1 they won't. And I look at their recruiting, man, and as long as they were the top dog and the only SEC team in the state and in town, they was recruiting really well. But now, you got Texas, you got Oklahoma, who loves to go into North Texas and recruit out the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And Texas recruit the whole state really well, plus whatever they get in the surrounding states. I think not only does it hurt A&M, it also hurt LSU. I think this is a good year for LSU to recruit, but LSU like to go into the Houston area and get kids as well. That's not going to happen anymore.
Man, it's nothing. Nothing is always as it was. Change, and we all got to go for the ride. What's the money going to look like? What's the new playoff going to look like? Where does Notre Dame fit in it? I can't wait to see it, man. You got anything else on the way out? I got to get going.
Yeah, remember this, man. The A&M ain't the only oil people in town now. You got Texas and A&M.
Yeah.
SEC, they also got oil money.
Yeah, there you go, man. Yeah, good things good call, man. Good touch of base. It's been a while. I hope you had a good Memorial Day weekend, and give me a call later in the week.
All right, man.
Have a good one. Okay. I'm going to be honest, you guys. Today's show is kind of weird. Does anybody else feel like that? Like, just kind of a weird show for a lot of reasons. My phone lines, I had to fight with the vintage operator plugging my cord into the wall. That one guy's mad at Goolsby. Yeah, just weird. We need football season. We need football season. We need the football. I feel it. We're getting in our minds here with everything. We need more, just football. I don't know. Yeah, there was a trauma. I just felt like it got too real. Man. And I don't know if that's good or bad for a morning show, but whatever. You never know what you're going to get when you have the phone lines. And that's what I love about it, because you just don't know what you're going to get. But man, it was, I don't know, man. It was a weird journey today. All right. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Thank you, everybody, for having patience with the weird phone line thing. And listen, man, you just never know what you're going to get. And so that's what I like about a call-in show. The high level of unpredictability. You never know what you're going to get. All right. Video coming out tomorrow. We'll be back Friday. Love you guys. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Thank you. Take care of yourself and those around you.